Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 245. I am Andrew Eisen. And that was the intro to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Now we get to the body of the podcast. So, it has been a year of vaccines for me. In addition to the COVID vaccine, it was and the flu shot from last fall. It was also time to re-up my tetanus shot, and I also got my hepatitis shot, which is actually a series of 3 shots. Which the third shot I was supposed to get right around when I got my COVID shot, and they're like, probably not an issue, but just to be safe, let's put a couple of weeks between the COVID shot and the Hep shot. But let's do COVID first. That's a bit more pressing. So I said, okay. Well, I've been fully vaxxed against COVID for many, many weeks now. So I went to the pharmacy today to get my final hepatitis shot, which covers both A and B. And my insurance told the pharmacy to tell me that I needed to be screened for HPV. And I said, can you do that? or do I have to go somewhere else for that? They're like, no, we can do it. It's fine. So if you don't know, HPV is a sexually transmitted virus that causes viral infections that result primarily in warts. Where? Nowhere comfortable. Usually around the groin area. I have a pretty vivid imagination, and my vivid imagination tells me that warts in the general groin area is not fun. So I was speaking to the physician because he was screening me. And he says, okay, who should get the HPV shot? Which is also, I think, a 3 series. People who are adults under 45. I am an adult under 45. I'm 41, so I'm in that range. Let me make this story shorter, because it's short anyway, and I'm probably boring you, and maybe making you uncomfortable with talks of sexually transmitted diseases. So, the pharmacist asks me more politely than this, but says basically, are you indiscriminately boning like a bunch of different people currently? And I said, in the middle of a pandemic? that doesn't sound advisable. No. I live alone. There's nobody here. I haven't seen it. I saw one friend last October because she was in a bad place and really needed help with something. But we made the visit as safe as we possibly could. She is a stay-at-home mom. At the time she didn't even have a car. She ordered all her groceries online, so she didn't leave the house. Still did a COVID test before I went out to Arizona where she lives. But other than her, I've not seen anybody. Other than the people who are like in the grocery store. But I haven't seen anyone since February of 2020, late February, something like that. I forget when we started working from home. So the pharmacist, he says, yeah, you don't need the HPV vaccine. So So there's my backstory. Yeah, feel fine. So I'm all hepatitis and tetanus and covided and fluted. So I am immortal. I just should refrain from boning multiple people in a short span of time because I'm not protected against HPV. On the other hand, I'm starting to age out of the group that is affected. So maybe when the pandemic is over and I hit a midlife crisis, who knows? So, I mean, I don't have the, if I hit a midlife crisis, I don't have the money to buy like a really hot sports car. So, I'm going to have to compensate for my insecurities some other way. Probably more video games, knowing me. Alright. Enough talk of diseases transmitted sexually. Let's talk about Nintendo. So, several weeks ago, someone in the chat asked me to opine once more on the idea of a Switch Pro. And do I think we'll see one? If we do see one, what do I think it will be? And because I am no fun at all, I said the Switch Pro is whatever it is, whatever it ends up being called. I don't believe it's going to be a 4K machine. My guess is it will be an improvement on the screen. So this screen will probably be, bigger and higher quality. And there will be more internal storage space. Not memory, just storage space. I could see them, goosing the clock speed a little bit. Maybe a little bit more memory if they got some cheaper chips to put in there or something like that. But even if that happened, I wouldn't expect, much better performance. Maybe games would tend to have more stable frame rates, stuff like that. But pretty much I was saying, whatever the new Switch is, it's not going to be like a big goose in performance or a visual presentation. It'll probably have more storage space. It'll probably be a nicer screen, and that's about it. I was right! Mm-hmm. Now, was that an easy call? Was that obvious? Yes. Am I going to gloat about it anyway? Oh, absolutely. I'll even take credit for something that the chat brought up. Someone in the chat said, well, what about the kickstand? I said, oh, yeah, they'd probably make a better kickstand, too. I'm good at this when it's obvious. So, Nintendo this week announced... Whoops, that's my tab full of porn. Here's my tab full of not porn. They announced the Nintendo Switch OLED model. The official name... That's the official name. Nintendo Switch OLED model. The official name literally has a parenthetical around the OLED model. I don't know what... I mean, hell, it tells you exactly... There is no confusion. Which one is the OLED model? It's the OLED. The OLED model is the OLED model. It's there's a handy little parenthetical right next to the name. It says OLED model. No, we're not calling it the new Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch Pro or the Nintendo Switch Plus or the Nintendo Switcheroo. Nope. Nintendo Switch OLED model. It is ridiculously hot in here. So you get to see me sweating 720 of those peas. Ah. All right. So this October the 8th, Nintendo will release the Nintendo Switch OLED model for $349.99. So it's $50 more expensive than the regular Switch. For the extra $50, you are getting a 7-inch OLED screen. This is, I think, 6.2 inches, and this is an LCD screen. So, slightly bigger. Basically, they're just see the bevel. The bevel. The screen goes all the way to the edge on the new one. So, you get a better quality screen. A little bit larger. Do you get a higher resolution screen? No. No, still 720. You thought, well, at least we'll get a higher resolution screen. No. That's still a 720 screen. It's a little bit bigger. It's a better quality screen, but being that the resolution isn't changing, it may make things... I wouldn't say it'll make the games look worse. I would say it will make any flaws more apparent to those who are looking. I would imagine it's similar to the experience moving from like the 3DS to the 3DS XL, right? Bigger screen, they didn't up the resolution. Did it really go, oh, it's now big and horrible, like me playing the N64 on my, big 60-inch TV? No, it's not going to be like that. It'll be fine. So you get a 7-inch OLED. You get a wide adjustable stand. So instead of this absurd this is the most flabbergasting piece of design I've ever seen from Nintendo since the Z button on the GameCube controller. This is just bad design. So the new one goes all the way across the back and can be adjusted to different levels. This one is either here or it's closed. So that's nice. Oh. Well, I'm not going to demo that because the dock is wired. But the dock now has a built-in LAN port. So you can plug your internet via Cat5 Ethernet cable directly into the dock. So if you have spotty Wi-Fi, you can just plug that sucker right in. To be clear, the LAN port has replaced the internal USB port, but everyone was using the internal USB port for the LAN adapter anyway. So, whatever. Nintendo doesn't actually mention it, but looking at the picture, it looks like there's an extra little vent on the inside of the dock, so maybe it's more efficient at heat dispersal and doesn't get as warm. I don't know. So, if you, unlike me, download a lot of your games, you probably filled up your Switch right quick. Because the Switch, the original, not the OLED edition, OLED model, does anyone remember the sound that Victor Borge made for parentheses? It wasn't that was more like a period. Is period, comma, something like that. I don't remember what parentheses were. Does anyone remember who Victor Borge is? He's a pianist and a comedian. He's funny. Might also be dead. He was very old the last time I saw he was alive, so I hope he's still kicking. Anyway, so the original Switch has 32 gigs of internal storage, which is pathetic. But keep in mind that you don't get all 32 of them gigs because, the OS and other system resources have to take up some of that space. So you get something like 27. Now you got a whole 64, which is still pathetic. Yeah, Chaos remembers Victor Borga. He is. I thought he had died a while ago, but yeah, damn. I enjoyed him. He's funny. Look up his stuff on the Tubes of You. You'll enjoy it unless your taste vastly differs from my own. And Silly Chicken, you asked me what my job was. I am a quality assurance analyst for a technology company, so I get to tell our developers how bad they are at their jobs. So everyone loves me. Anyway, with the Switch OLED model, you get 64 gigs of internal storage. Wow! Now instead of 3 whole games, you can get like 5 or 6 on there. Chaos bought a 128 gig card for a Switch and filled it up fairly fast. Now has a 512. Yeah. Yeah, games are big. So Nintendo hasn't elaborated on this, but they also have said that the audio is enhanced. So I'm guessing they just have more space for better speakers. I'm guessing the unit itself just has better speakers, but I mean, if you're using headphones, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's it. So, for $50, you get a slightly better screen and double the completely inadequate storage space. And that's it. I mean, you get a LAN port, which replaces the USB port that you were probably using for the LAN adapter if you wanted a LAN port anyway. So, yeah. Cass has over 200 Switch games. Holy biscuits. Ain't fitting all... I don't care how small they are. You ain't fitting them all in the Switch. So, now... Chaos says the internal memory is really just for game save data. Yeah, the Switch, portable or not, is really not set up for, by itself, to be a repository for a lot of downloaded games. Like, if you're traveling with your Switch, you're very likely going to want to bring a little case of physical games with you, or a case of a bunch of SD cards, micro SD cards, that have games downloaded on them. There's just not a lot of space in that sucker. So, this raises an interesting question, the existence of the Nintendo Switch OLED model. They just gave up. They probably had like 6 whiteboards full of a bunch of names, and they're like, fuck it. Nintendo Switch the OLED model. We can't agree. It's just the OLED model. No one gives a damn. It's just fine. OLED model. It raises the question. Does the existence of the Nintendo Switch OLED model preclude a 4K Switch or a Switch Pro? No. And this doesn't mean that the system that a bunch of publications have been reporting on for several years now did not exist. This does not mean that Forbes and Bloomberg and everyone was wrong. What they were reporting on was probably accurate at the time. That doesn't... But yes, I would guess that this makes a 4K Switch... First of all, no, we're never... I'll put this out here. We will never get a 4K Switch. We may get a Switch that will look okay on 4K TVs by upscaling, but nothing that's actually outputting 4K. It's going to be some scaling thing. But will we see a Switch that is more technically proficient, a la the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X? I find that less likely now. remember that by the time the OLED model releases in the fall, the Switch will have been on the market for 4.5 years. Now, it would be real. By comparison, the PS4 Pro came out 3 years after the PS4, and the Xbox One X came out 4 years after the Xbox One. I find it really unlikely that Nintendo will have a new Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch Pro Plus whatever anytime soon after they release the OLED model. I mean, can you imagine? They released the OLED model on October 8th, and then on Christmas they announced the new Nintendo Switch Plus coming, March 20th, 2022. People would be pissed. They're like, well, gosh darn it to Hexville, Nintendo. I would not have purchased the OLED model if I knew a new Nintendo Switch was coming in the next several months. And Nintendo would say, yeah, we know. That's why we didn't announce it until after you gave us money. Because Nintendo's like that. So if we actually see a Nintendo Switch Pro, not a new console, not a successor to the Nintendo Switch, but a Pro version of the current Switch, I would not expect anything like that until fall of 2022. And I wouldn't expect, and that would be 5.5 years later. So I would not. I'm not expecting anything like that for the Switch. I imagine the next console we get that is technically more proficient than the Switch will not be a Switch Pro, but a Switch 2 or whatever the next console is. Now, it is possible that Nintendo may try to do the thing that they did with... You know how they released the Nintendo Switch and then they released like the 2DS a couple of months later? They may do something like that. They may try and do a new console and keep both of them. The Switch being the more portable, all ages, family friendly. You don't have to worry about weird acronyms like HDMI and 4K and HDR and who knows what any of that is. And then they'll have a Switch Pro or whatever being the next iteration of the console, and they try and have two consoles simultaneously. Because 3DS is essentially done now. It's really only the Switch. Remember when they were going, 3 pillars? The DS, the 3DS, and the, what was it, Wii at the time? And everyone was like, no. And Nintendo was like, yes. And everyone was, no. And you know what happened? 2 pillars. So what happened to whatever the hell the Bloombergs and Forbes and everyone else was reporting on for the last couple of years? Is this what that was? No, there probably was a project that they were working on. And then the pandemic hit. And then there's a shortage on computer components. Even if they released a Switch Pro or something now or in 6 months, would anyone be able to get it? Not that that would really stop Nintendo. They don't really seem to be that bothered by limited supply. Nintendo. But, they could have had a Switch 4K, Switch Pro, whatever, and said, you know what, this is just... The Switch is doing fine. We don't need to release a Pro version. And it's getting kind of late in the life, and by the time the pandemic is over, we're going to release our next console anyway. So I would not deign to call Forbes and everyone else a liar. I don't think they were lying. I don't think they were wrong either. I think things just change. I think there probably was a Pro version in the works at one point, but things change. So we are getting the OLED model. You think they'll do a cross promotion with Disney and put the Olaf from Frozen on it so they could do the Nintendo Switch Olaf model just for fun? I don't know. It's white. Anyway, the point of the story is I was completely correct. Chaos says the Pro is almost certainly the successor to the Switch. Yeah, hopefully the successor to the Switch is better than what I think most of us would expect a Pro version of the Switch to be. Then again, the Wii was essentially the GameCube Pro. You know? It's a little bit faster. All right, who was it? I think it was Perrin Kaplan. Is that her name? Who was like, yeah, the Wii's essentially two GameCubes duct taped together. It kind of, people are, oh, that's disparaging. Oh, it's kind of true. I mean, the Wii was not really significantly more powerful. It was more powerful than the GameCube. Oh, absolutely. It wasn't a full technological generational leap ahead of the GameCube. It was still kind of that generation, though. Yeah, I mean, it did need default into widescreen and 480p and stuff like that, but yeah, competition was already at the HD. So maybe by the time we get Switch 2, it will only be two solid generations behind the PS5 and Series X. The Wii was about on par with the original Xbox. Yeah, roughly. Yeah, the Wii was, the GameCube was in the same neighborhood as the Xbox, but a bit weaker in a lot of ways. And the Wii was slightly more powerful, so the Wii and the Xbox, a console I should remind everyone that came out like 5 or 6 years earlier, we're about on the same level. But then Nintendo came out with the Wii U, which was finally a full generation ahead of the Wii, which was a full generation behind everything else. So when the Wii U came out, it was slightly better than the PS3 and the Xbox 360, which had come out 6 and 7 years earlier. But as Jared says, the games were good, so we forgive them. Yeah, but think how much better they would be if the hardware was on the level of its contemporaries. It would just be that much better. Still good games, though. Chaos says GameCube was the last time Nintendo was concerned themselves with power. This is true. The NES, the Super NES, the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, they were all competitive in technologically, mind you, technologically competitive in their specific generations. Not always on top, but definitely competitive. Was the GameCube as powerful as the Xbox? No, but it was in the same neighborhood. It was definitely the same generation. But once Nintendo started in with the Wii, they just... Nintendo has always said we don't care what our competition is doing. In 2006, when they released the Wii, from then on, boy howdy, they meant it. But as frustrating as Nintendo can be at times, the industry needs a weirdo like Nintendo because Nintendo just it doesn't always work, but Nintendo does some weird ass stuff, and that's one of the things I love about them. Zygon loves that. Hello, Zygon. Loves that I'm right about everything. Well, I don't, because sometimes I'm right about horrible things. You know, I was A year ago, well, more than a year ago, I was like, "Oh, this pandemic is not going to be over by the end of summer." Oh no. Oh no, no, no. We're going straight through the summer and into the next year easily. I was right about that. I hate that I was right about that. I don't want to be right about that. I would really love to be wrong about a lot of the things I end up being right about, because I'm a very, very cynical, pessimistic, bitter, miserable human being. And I don't want to be right about all the horrible things I think is going to happen. But let's continue talking about fun things like video games and HPV. Jared says, how much do you care to see Mario's individual hairs? 0. But I do care about frame rate and resolution and object detail and scene density and other things along those lines that more technological competence can achieve. I don't really give a hoot about, the fine hair texture of Mario's mustache. I mean, that's cool and all, but stuff like that, it's pretty. And if you're looking at two versions of a Mario game, and literally the only difference is one has a more fuzzy mustache, and one just looks like a plastic Lego clip-on thing, well, the fuzzy mustache is better, but does that significantly make the game better? Not significantly, no. But there are a lot of things that, Breath of the Wild, for example. Imagine if that game was even 1080p. It's 900 for those wondering. And ran at 60 frames. And had better draw distance. And had better textures. So that the ground and rock face, so that the ground you're running across and the rock face you're climbing up doesn't look like muddled slime. Still a great game that I have problems with, but still a great game. But all other things being equal, take the same game, increase the frame rate, increase the resolution, increase the texture quality, increase the draw distance, increase the level of detail, the level of detail management, and you have a better game. Better than good. So, let's see. What do you think the odds are that the next Nintendo console will play Switch cartridges? That's a good question. It's getting cheaper to put games on carts. But I think that's really going to... I think it's probably a toss-up at this point. If the Nintendo Switch continues to sell very well, and the games can... Because you have to also remember that the Switch... Pardon me. Pardon. Oh, goodness. Ew. The Switch is not only a repository for Switch games, it's kind of a repository for all the excellent Wii U games that no one played because few people bought the system. So there would be a lot of value, I think, to have the Switch 2 be backwards compatible to the immense library of the Switch. I don't know that... So, I think the longer the Switch lasts, and keeps steady growth, the more likely it is for its successor to be backwards compatible. That's a good question. Would the successor actually include a physical cartridge media as its game storage mechanism? It's good question. I don't know. I'd say it's kind of a toss-up right now, and the longer the Switch lasts, the more likely it is that they'll stick to carts. And if they stick to carts, may as well make it backwards compatible, unless the successor is so radically different that it wouldn't make sense. So it's hard to predict because there's just a lot of factors that are reliant on what exactly Nintendo is doing with the successor to the console. It's a great question, though. Chaos is estimating much higher than me, a 95% chance that it'll be BC. I think right now it's a toss-up, like a 50-50. But I also think that the Switch is going to be around for a while yet, like another couple of years. So that's definitely going to increase the chance. ASAP Anime, that's the same as the people that was complaining about the trees in Sword and Shield. Pokemon Sword and Shield? I didn't play it, so I don't know what the complaint about the trees were. Yeah. The thing about I don't know what the cost of a cartridge is now. I know it's cheaper. It's not as cumbersome as it was back in like the N64 days when it was just really expensive for the carts. Now the carts aren't too terrible, and most publishers / developers seem to be saying, okay, if my game needs to be bigger than can comfortably fit on an affordable cart, then we'll just make it incumbent upon the end user to download the rest of the game through a day one update. So Scotty says unless they change from the ARM to 86, it'll be backwards compatible. Yeah, as I said, it really depends on what their vision for the next console is. It might be because if they have to essentially put an entire Switch on the new board of whatever the hell they're making, Nintendo probably wouldn't do that. If I'm remembering correctly, I think the PS3 actually had a PS2 in it, or was it the PS2 that had a PS1 in it? Or was it the PS3 that had a PS1 in it? One of the PlayStation consoles had essentially the entire previous generation board just built in there, and you were essentially running it off the old hardware. It wasn't emulation, it was literally the old hardware. Was it both? Okay. I find it less likely that Nintendo would do something like that. With PS3? Okay, thanks, Jared. And Chaos. So Nintendo. Alright, now let me tell you about my week. I had a week. We all had a week. This one was mine. Wii U had a Wii built. That's right, Cass. That's true. The Wii U does have a Wii in it. Which is why you can't run it from the main. Thanks for pointing that out, because I completely forgot about that. That's why in the. That is why. Can you even see? No, you really can't. So never mind. That was why the Wii does not run off the main page. It actually, you have to hit the Wii icon and it boots up into Wii mode. So completely separate set of hardware, but it is convenient. So it's not unprecedented. Game Boy, I forgot about the handhelds too. Scotty points out the Game Boy Advance did this with the old Game Boy games. Jared says, and that's why the PS3 was $600. And you should be happy to pay it. You should be happy to get 3 jobs. That went over well. Wait, bench behind me. You notice there's no rack back there? Still? Yeah. So, the latest in the saga of Andrew's attempt to get some decent workout equipment for his home, why am I speaking of myself in the third person, is still ongoing and still frustrating, and it's still hot in here. So I heard back from the third party seller, who Walmart, who I bought the thing from Walmart, but they went through a third party seller to get it, and the seller said it's lost in transit. I don't know how the USPS or whoever lost something that damn big, but guess they did, and they don't have any more to send me. Well, I'm not disassembling this damn thing. It took 2 hours to put together. I had to buy a whole toolbox to put it together. And some grease to grease up my nuts. And I still have a tube of grease left in case I have any more nuts that need grease. Well, okay, it's bolts that get greased, but that's not as funny. Not like me saying greasy nuts in a voice like this is that funny to begin with. It's just kind of childish, but it does amuse me, so worth it. So I spent $200 thereabouts on this combo, a bench and weight rack, and I told the third party seller I would accept a partial refund. I should have been more specific, because the third party seller partially refunded me $30. So I wrote back and said, no. No. That ain't gonna cover it. No. I only got half of what I paid for, so $30 out of 200, that ain't covering it. I have not seen a weight rack less than $80, so you owe me at least another 50. Fork it over. Happy Saturday, Chicago. I've yet to hear back. This was, I think, Thursday, so hopefully I'll hear back next week. So, but that was just one irritation I had this week. This week of PTO, by the way, 4th of July was last Sunday, federal holiday. My business does grant a paid holiday for its employees, but since the holiday landed on Sunday, Monday was our day off. I decided to use my vacation days on the rest of the days this week, so I was taking the week off. Microsoft this week issued some update which borked our software platforms out in the field. Chaos says I wouldn't hold my breath to hear back. Well, if I don't hear back from the third-party seller, I will be contacting Walmart. I can be very persuasive. So I was on PTO this week. Microsoft released a Microsoft update, which updated Microsoft and borked our software platforms. Basically, I think they got rid of a COM object that we were using, something like that, which just screwed everything up. So we had to do a hotfix, which moved a pointer to a different COM object. The details are not important. Microsoft updated something. They broke a thing. We had to fix it. So my supervisor calls me on Thursday. I really should not have answered the phone. And so I spent 11 hours on Thursday and another 4.5 or 5 hours on Friday verifying the pre-release bundle for our test system and the pre-release bundle for our production system, and then the release to our test system and the release to our production system. That takes a while, because I have to fully end-to-end test the damn thing. And it's a big thing that takes a while. Chicago says, my work phone gets turned off when I'm off work. I really should do that because this is literally, I kid you not, the third vacation in a row I've been pulled out of vacation mode and into work mode. Third in a row. But now I have next Monday and Tuesday off. So, you know, as compensation for having to work Thursday and Friday, you know, I'm being credited those 2 vacation days, and we're moving a release that was originally Thursday. That's getting moved to Monday or something, and I'm taking Monday and Tuesday off. So it's not fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not bitter. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. Totally fine. Totally fine. Still getting robocalls, though. Still getting robocalls from robots, I guess, who really want to give me a last chance warning is about my car insurance. It's funny. I don't think the robots have my best interest at heart, because I keep yelling at these pre-recordings profanely, loudly. I don't think it does any good. Makes me feel better. But the robots are calling me from a different number multiple times a week. And it's the same recorded message. We've been trying to reach you. This is your last chance to do something with your car's warranty. Yeah, it's something I'm not even sure what the scam is. I've never listened to it long enough. I imagine that if you listen to it long enough, they say press 1 to enter your credit card information. I don't even know what the scam is. For all I know, they're just wasting time for laughs. Sometimes it's therapeutic to yell, says Chicago, yeah. Chicago says, I will get a call on my work phone, then a few minutes later, then I don't answer, so a few minutes later it's on my personal phone. Well, my work phone is my personal phone, because if work's going to pay for the phone, I'm just going to use that. Zygon says, been blocking him every time, and it's slowly getting better. I get 1 or 2 a week, but yeah, I block the number every time. They want you to call them so you can give them your personal information, yeah. Well, I would think they have a finite amount of numbers. I mean, But I'm also wondering, is like, how successful are these scams? Like, who's falling for this? Who's sitting there going, you know what? This is a very friendly robotic voice. I think I'll give them my social security number or my ATM PIN number, whatever. But I got a new robocall this week, and this one seemed to be more advanced. It was fairly early in the morning, so I had not vocalized yet. So saying hello came out as nah, or something like that. Older people, and I suppose, well, the nice robot said to type in my credit card number, so no, Grandma, don't. Boy, I hope I don't get taken advantage of by the new technological hotness when I'm in my 70s or 80s. Hope I always remain savvy. So the new robot called, and I went, and the robot said, "Are you there?" And I said, "Yes." And the robot said, "Good, we've been trying to reach you." And I said, "Who is this?" And I forget, it wasn't car insurance, it was their car warranty, it was something else. And I said, "Don't ever call me again." And it hung up on me. So there seemed to be at least a some type of vocal recognition thing going on, where it recognized that I wasn't on the phone at first, and then it acknowledged a response to hello, and then clearly read in my voice that I was having none of this and just hung up. So that was nice. Chicago says there was an instructor who fell for the whole, this is the IRS, you owe me money, you have to pay in Apple gift cards. The security manager warned her it was a scam. Once upon a time, I've told this story before, but not all of you watch every single podcast, so I will tell it again and hope that it's new to most of you. I came home and had a message on my answering machine from the FBI. And they really wanted to talk to me about something very important. Some odd behavior on my part that had concerned somebody. And they just wanted to talk to me, so if I could call them... Erase. So 2 FBI agents knock on my door. And, we left you a message. I said, you did. Like, you didn't call me back. I said, no, of course I didn't. Why not? Because I didn't believe you. I mean, I got a message on my answering machine saying that the FBI really wanted to talk to me. Sure. And I deleted it. Of course I didn't call you back. I didn't believe you. So I got a third call that Thursday. This one from an actual real-life person. Apparently, a candidate running for governor of mayor, something, running for an elected office. I don't know who they are. I don't know how they got my number. But it was, hi, I'm Husawatsi, and I'm running for this office, and I would like to know if you would like to give me money. And I said, no, I don't even live in your state, and I hung up. About 5 minutes later, I received an email from the same gubernatorial hopeful, I forget what the hell they were running for, that said, I'm sorry I missed you. I'm Husawatsi running for this and blah blah blah, give me money. And I wrote back, I was not very polite, because I'll admit, I said, you didn't miss me. I hung up on you. I didn't ask you to call, and I never gave you my number. How dare you bother me at home? I don't even live in your state. Do not contact me again. Which is harsh, and perhaps unfair. But I get particularly prickly about anyone who obtains my phone number and texts or calls me unannounced asking for money. And you may say, well, what are they supposed to do? I don't know. But don't buy my phone number from whoever sold it to you. They saw me looking at hentai, the FBI. Chicago disagrees, says that's not harsh. Well, I mean, I didn't use any profanity, so bully on me for that. And to be clear, I genuinely do wish this particular politician well. But gall darn it, I had another one, I probably deleted it, but literally texted me at like 3 in the morning. And I texted back, I said, email only, no text, besides it's 2 or 3 in the morning or whatever it was. What the hell is wrong with you? I think I said, don't text me at 3 in the morning. What's wrong with you? So, hey, are you a politician who listens to this podcast? Let me give you a little bit of advice as it pertains to me. I don't know if this works on anyone else, but don't call me or text me unless I give you my number and permission to contact me via phone. If I don't give you my number, you are not free to use it. Unless it's like an emergency or something. You know, if you're a solicitor or you're trying to sell me something, or if you want money from me and I didn't give you my number in the first place, do not call me. Because I will block you and you will never get any money from me ever. You might have otherwise, but now I can't trust you because you obviously bought my number from someone who's selling it, and I'm not okay with that. Now, I do actually, as far as politicians go, for example, I actually do subscribe to several different politicians, namely mine. Like my mayor and the state senators and the assembly people. I'm one of those boring bozos who actually likes to know what's going on. So I try and keep informed about what's going on. So here's the tip that I've been building up to. Do not ever do the thing where you send an email saying, "Hello, constituent," or whoever. "I'm really terribly interested in what you think. Would you kindly, please take 5 minutes out of your day to fill out this survey so that I know what you think and can make decisions that help you." Okay. Scroll, click. "Do you agree that people should breathe clean air?" Yes. "Then we're on the same team. Make a donation today." I will instantly unsubscribe from your email and block your ass if you pull that shit with me. You do not disguise a donation ask as a survey. You do not do that. Because when you do that, politicians, what you tell me is, I don't give a shit what you think. I just want your money. Fair enough. Now fuck off. And I put that in the, when you click unsubscribe from an email, there's usually a, "Why are you unsubscribing?" Because you disguised a donation ask as a survey. You pretended to be interested in knowing my opinions on certain things when you clearly don't give a shit. Andrew Illuminati confronted. Yeah, Zygon agrees that is crap. Anime wants to know what the FBI agents want. I'll tell you in a sec. Chicago, I've been getting calls from debt collection agency. It's always different numbers. I never answer. Just let it go to voicemail. Hope it's not a real call, but I pay my bills. Yeah, it's like, I do have a car. I mean, I bought, it's a year old now, so it's still under warranty. And it's like, but if this were legitimate, it wouldn't come from different numbers every week. So... So this is the arm of my chair. So here's one on this side. Should be one on this side. Good thing I favor leaning to the right. So I bought a new chair today because my old one, I broke the arm off. Well, it was a couple of years old, so it was about that time. I've only had this one built for a couple hours now, and so far I'm liking it. It's not black, it's gray, and pretty nice chair. Let me give you a look at it. There it is in all its glory. Isn't that nice? I think I will keep the now the old chair I had whoa, it's sliding all over the place here. I had little armrest pads on because these kind of flattened out. I think I'll probably put these on here. I mean, these are actually really comfortable, but the material of this chair, it is so damn hot in here that if I'm wearing, if I'm just in a t-shirt, it's like, so I'll probably put these on just so that it's, I'm not ing all over the place. Also, probably best if I don't sit naked in the chair. Try not to think about that too hard. But, yeah, this is one of the things that you probably saw this in a bunch of earlier podcasts where occasionally I'd be like, whoa, and I'd fall backwards. In this one, I can lean back and stretch and put my arms up, get real top heavy and not feel like I'm going to fall over backwards. It's also got this really nice bit in the center, this thing here, that moves and flexes with how I'm sitting. So it's got a lot of support. It's actually really comfortable. And for a chair that costs $200, it damn well better be. I've long been thinking about getting a new office chair. And when the arm broke off that chair this week, that was, I was like, okay. What's funny is I actually saw this chair at a Big Lots, like a Monday, I think. And I was like, you know what? I think that's the chair. I'm going to look around a bit more, do some pricing and stuff like that. And then, then 2 days later, that chair, just the arm snaps right off. And I said, okay, time to get a new chair. So next I gotta get a new desk because this one is just too cramped, too small. Especially since I work from home now and have for over a year. It's nice to actually get a decent, good office chair since I'm sitting in it so much. And I promise I won't do the performative hissy fit, kicking, breaking things and make y'all think that I've just lost my stuff. When I get a new desk, I'll just get a new desk. That's much more expensive though, so that's going to be a while. Anyway. Looking at the chat now. Oh, you dropped something. Breathe. The arm of the chair. Deep breath. Oh, God, I hate it when that happened. It happened to me all the time. Get that chair. um, I actually have, over on the other end of the, over there, I have the big box that this chair came in. So that's what I power slammed my chair into, is essentially, you know how when stunt people do big high falls, they a lot of times they fall into essentially lots of open cardboard boxes. It's basically what my chair did. It did a stunt into a big cardboard box. I really did punch it, though. I did break it. I didn't notice that because it's dark over here, but I did break the headrest when I punched it. See, the padded headrest is gone, and it went straight through the plastic when I punched it over. So, but that's fine because this chair is broken anyway and is going in the trash. So there you go. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the performance of someone losing their stuff over a chair, which is pretty easy for me to do because I'm an angry, violent person anyway. So it's actually very therapeutic to break things that are just going to end up in the trash anyway. I was hoping to see you kick it on the floor. Yeah, well, I mean, only so much room in the camera, and I thought it's easier to. I thought it would probably be better to have just the punch in the chair out of frame and then just picking it up and dropping it on the box and then kicking it a few times just to make some noise off camera, so you're all going, oh, Jesus, what is he doing? Spray paint it, yeah. Good bit, Zygon says, thank you. Chicago says if it's leather, you can try dyeing it black. You know, I could, but I don't care that much. This was the one they had left. Other than the floor model, they had one. Oh God, it's hot in here. They had one boxed one left, and the guy says, "Oh, let me get a truck for you, or a hand truck or a cart or something." I'm like, dude, it's I'll show you. So here's the box that it comes in. It's big and bulky, but I mean, it's like, I don't know, 30, 40 pounds maybe. It's really not heavy at all, so I just, dragged it up myself. I mean, nice of them to think of me, but, might need a gaming chair. I looked at, gaming chairs, and I didn't find any of them that were comfortable. And this one's not terribly more expensive than most of the gamer chairs I looked at were like $150, $160. For $200, better give you a massage and get you a beer. Funny thing is, I don't drink and I don't like massages. Now, if someone could figure out how to give me a massage without touching me, that would be great. But they haven't figured that out yet, so oh well. I actually have had a massage. A friend of mine was like, you really, because you're all tense and stuff, you really need a massage. I think it'll be good for you and you should experience it once. And the first time we went, I completely, I'll use that language, what the hell, I chickened out. I was like, nope, I don't wanna, and we left. I think it was like the second time we went, and it was I didn't like it. I don't touch me. I don't like it. I mean, it didn't hurt. It wasn't uncomfortable, like physically uncomfortable. I just don't like being touched. Don't touch me. I don't like it. Which is a shame because most people really like massages. And, I'm into working out and stuff. It's why I'm working so hard and trying to get a damn exercise machine. And so I know a lot of people who are like, oh, nothing better than a massage after, pumping iron and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, hey, I've got a foam roller, good enough. Check Ross next time. Actually, I think I have a Ross near me, but I did check a couple different places. One thing I forget which store it was doing, that all their demos were like on a high shelf that put the chairs at eye level, and all the chairs were like zip tied to the display case that they were. I'm like, well, if I can't press my fanny against your chair, then I'm not going to buy it. I must try it out first. When I get a new desk, take an axe to the old one. To give you an example of what a terrible, angry twit I am, here is a drawer. Get a good look at it. Okay, that's what it looks like. This is contact paper because I put my fist through the drawer, and that one and that one. It's most easily to tell on the bottom one because see how the grain is going horizontally? Whoops! Oh shit! It broke. Okay, so see how it's vertical here? Yeah, I screwed up putting the contact paper on, and I also just the whole front just. I actually keep some heavy things in that drawer, so that's not terribly surprising. But it's intact, so I can just nail that back on. That's not a big deal. But yeah, I need a new desk because I just don't fit under this desk, so it's really hard to work at. Would have been hilarious to give it a Macho Man elbow drop. Literally laughed out loud when I punched the old chair. Good, because that's silly. Punching inanimate objects is silly. Even though I will admit, it makes me feel better. And that's one of the really difficult parts about having a violent temper, is you can probably imagine like my mother or something, right? And I destroy a piece of furniture, put my fist through a wall, or the window of my car or something, all things I've done. And, I finally stop cursing, and I stop hitting things, and I stop breaking things. And you can, in your mind's eye, I'm sure, imagine a mother or mother figure with her arms crossed, looking at me. You done? Feel better now? Feel better now that you've broken your stuff? Do you feel better now that you've acted like an immature asshole? Do you feel better now, Andrew? Do ya? I do, yeah. Sadly, hitting things and breaking things makes me feel better. Don't worry, I live alone. I wish it didn't. And it's even worse? The fact that violent outbursts actually make me feel better pisses me off. That's a vicious little circle. So so that's not fun. Andrew's too strong. I put my fist. I'm not superhuman, obviously, but I am pretty strong. I went through the majority of my life thinking that it was pretty much impossible to punch out a car window. I mean, you see it in movies all the time. Yeah, they punch out a car window and open the door and get in and then rip the steering column off so that they can play with the wires. You see that all the time. I figure, oh, that's just sugar glass they use for the movie. Until I put my fist through a car window and said, oh, that's a thing you could do. And I put my fist through my car's I am at least proud to say that I have... None of my violent outbursts have ever been directed at another person, nor another person's property. So, at least there's that. So I put my fist through the window of the window of my driver's door while I was driving. Road rage. I was very upset that Point Loma is not on top of their street sign game. In fact, street signs in Point Loma, at least when I was last there, seem to be more of a suggestion rather than a hard rule. This was before GPS, so it made it really difficult for me to find where I was going, and I had a singing gig. I needed to be there. Other people were counting on me, and I couldn't find the goddamn place because there's no goddamn signs! And so I'm sat in the front seat, driver's seat, driving along, and I just punch across my chest at the window, and this is really bad leverage. Window just completely shatters. Surprised the hell out of me. I really didn't expect that to happen. So I showed up to the show. My hand's bleeding. I had to go to the bathroom, get a bunch of paper towels, and just wrap up my hand, and then get on stage and bye bye to those bum 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 bum. Bye 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 to those bum 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 bum. Old Sam, the old accordion man. I think it was a high school or something. I think we're singing for a bunch of kids. And I got there, I was all pissed off and cursing all over the place. It's Andrew, I'm bleeding and cursing. Andrew, there's kids all over the place. Stop it. Go bandage your hand. We're on in 2. Massage chairs don't touch you with fingers. Oh, that's Calzandra. Yeah, hello. That's true. A foam roller is fine, so I imagine a massage chair would be fine. Chicago says he used to get my brother to just stand on my back when we were in our 20s. Yeah. Zygon's not a big fan of people touching him either. Anime says I'm massage phobic. I'm kind of touch phobic, but yeah, like I'll shake your, well, maybe not during a pandemic, but I'll shake your hand. I'll fist bump you. I'll hug you from like 4. I am a master of hugging. I do the let's see. I do that side hug thing, so you square off with a person and you go into hug. No. I do the whole turn to the side and one arm with the hand bent backwards, so I'm not actually putting my hand on anything, and then I kind of press in with the inside of my forearm, like against my side and hip. But I also, when I go in for the hug, I like cock the hip out to the side so I'm away from the... Yeah, as little contact as I can possibly get away with in a hug. That's the Eisen style. I am bad at hugging. If you hug me, you will be unsatisfied. Also, really, what I really try to do, it's not a problem with this shirt, but when hugging, I really need to remember to get my glasses out of my shirt pocket, if I have a shirt pocket with glasses, because you don't want to crunch someone against your glasses, because that's not comfortable for them, and it's not good for your glasses. Chicago says, I thought I had anchor issues. My theme song is Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. I'm not familiar with that song. I'll have to look that up. I'll probably never remember. But Zygon says he gets angry, then he gets angry at himself for being angry. Yeah. It sucks. Having a... And the problem with having a temper like mine is it's the same thing with depression, right? Because a lot of people's intuition will tell them to tell a person with depression, cheer up. You know? That does not work. For anyone with depression, someone telling you to cheer up, oh, really? Wow. Never would have thought of that one by myself. Shit, it was that easy? Wow. Spending all this money on therapy and drugs and all I had to do was cheer up. Thanks, man. Damn, don't I feel sheepish not thinking of that myself? Yeah, don't tell people with depression to cheer up. Doesn't work. Not helpful. I know you're trying to help, and I know your intuition tells you, well, if you just smile, then you'll fake yourself in it. That's not what depression is. Bad temper, very similar thing, in that it doesn't help to tell people to calm down or to, well, stop getting upset over dumb shit. I know. I know. I know. Yeah, it's not helpful. And the problem is a lot of times people with depression and people with anger management issues will tell themselves to cheer up or to cool off or chill out or calm down, even though they know that doesn't work. Yeah. Brain stuff is fun. Chicago says I used to hit stuff too. I would aim for stuff I couldn't break, though. It's been years since I've done it. I still have a scar on my knuckles, though. Yeah, like brick or trees. Probably not gonna break the tree. Probably not gonna break the brick. Might break your hand. Of course, a lot of times, I'll do like forearm strikes against things I know I can't break, because it allows me to hit harder. It'll keep me from damaging my knuckles, and it puts a lot of it distributes the force over a wider area, which is less damaging to you, and also less damaging to whatever you're hitting. So I've done that before too. So I hope none of you are inclined to do things like that. It's not healthy. And I should probably seek therapy. But I don't. Because I'm stubborn. I have been in therapy before. But number one, it's super expensive. It is absurdly expensive. And my insurance doesn't cover it. And it's never worked for me. I've probably never found the right person, but I don't like therapists. At the very least, I've never found one that's worked for me. Granted, I've only ever been with not very many. You could probably count them all in one hand. Chicago says, I hate when people hug me. My wife's sister gets her feelings hurt when we go to visit them in Texas. She likes to hug. I told her one a day is my limit. I think that's fair, and I hope she respects that. Yeah, I'm inclined to. I know I'm in the minority on the whole hugging thing. Most people either like to hug or don't mind hugging. So, I mean, as long as you're not making it weird, don't grind against me. Don't cut my buns. Don't hold it any longer than a second, right? But yeah, one hug per visit. Yeah. We already hugged. To me, it would be like saying hello to me multiple times in the same day. Hey, Andrew. Hey. 20 minutes later. Hey, Andrew. Hi. Now you're making it weird. And you're making me uncomfortable. Stop it. So, yeah. Another thing with me is I don't like... Believe it or not, I'm quite friendly. And I'm a very good friend. But I don't handle large groups very well. Like, if I'm going out with friends, it's like one friend, maybe two. I don't want to do more than that. That's too many people. If I'm at anywhere where there is a significant number of people, after a while, I am going to have to excuse myself and just go somewhere else for a little bit. Even if it's just a few minutes. And even going to visit family, for example. I'll be like, okay, I am overwhelmed. I have to go sit in a room for 20 minutes. I just can't do it. Too many people, too much noise, too many people moving around. It's too much. Can't do it. And I do try to make it clear to people that it's not you. I still like you. I still want to spend more time with you. I just need to take a break. And to many people who are not like that, who aren't bothered by large numbers of people or crowds or anything like that, that's so foreign to them, it's hard not to get self-conscious. Be like, it's got to be me. What am I doing? Oh my God, it's terrible now. It's hard to understand that it genuinely is not you. It's just me. I can only tolerate a number of people for so long before I have to go take some me time. Luckily, most people I know are actually everyone I know is completely cool with that. It's like, I'm gonna go sit in my room for a bit. All right. I don't know anyone who has a when that friend in Arizona that I was talking about that I saw in October because she needed help with something. She has 3 kids. I was there for a couple of days, like 3 days. There were many times when I just went to the bedroom and just stayed there for a little bit. I think even if it were just her and I, there would have been moments where I'm like, I just need to just decompress for a bit. But oh my God, do you have kids? I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Because as a parent, you can't just, I'm tired of my kids, I need to take a break from my kids for a little bit. Yeah, you can't do that. Not for another 18 years. I don't know how the hell you parents do it. I can't do it. Cannot do it. Not at all. Nope. She's the one I stole the car seat from, if you remember. We went hiking, and so she put the car seat in the back seat of the car, and we took the kids and we went hiking, and then the kids didn't want to do it, so we hiked for like a total 7 minutes before the kids. I'm tired. I'm hot. And it's like, oh my God, fine. We turned around, walked back to the car, and drove home. And then I drove off with her car seat and a bag full of diapers. I was so proud of myself for remembering to get the stroller out of my trunk and returning it to her before I left. I got to I was like in Gila Bend before I noticed it. I like looking in the rearview mirror. I'm like, oh shit! It's a good thing there was no kid in that car seat, just the car seat. But Chicago, that's great. Chicago says it's like telling someone who's bleeding to stop bleeding. That is very analogous. Yeah, it that is an unreasonable ask. That's a good one. Have you tried to stop bleeding? Chaos says, thank you. Never tell someone like that to calm down. Let them vent. What should you do? Well, I try not to blow up around other people, and I'm pretty successful at that. Mainly because I'm alone most of the time. But, taking breaks. If I'm with friends or in the before times, rather, or out in a crowd and I need to, just disengage, take a break, it's fine. But if someone's blowing up, give them space. I mean, don't let them hurt you. That's not okay. Don't let them hurt your stuff. That's not okay either. I don't think there's anything like if I lost my temper and someone else was here, I probably wouldn't lose my temper because I'll just bottle that shit up. I'm 41 years old. I am good at bottling stuff up. I've had decades of practice. So I'll just bottle that stuff up and keep it with me until I explode later in my own time. But if someone were around, is there anything that someone could say to me that would help or make me feel better? I don't know that there is. The fact that I'm losing control in front of you makes it even worse. So I don't know if there's actually anything you can say. Now that's probably going to be different for different people, but for me, I do my damnedest to just not explode in front of people. And decades of practice, I'm very good at it now. So, Chaos says therapy is expensive. This is why I play video games. Yeah. It's one of the it's one of the things I do to release stress and try to experience joy. Since we're getting uncomfortably personal here, one of the unfortunate elements of my personal psychology is, how if you're a parent, you probably know this, especially if your kid's a little old, getting into the teenage years. If you've ever asked your kid, how was your day at school? Fine. I'm sure you've probably been that kid who's just fine. Now, for a lot of kids, it's I just don't want to talk to you. I've got puberty and other things to worry about. I don't want to waste time and energy reiterating the day at school I had. It's fine. Just let me go read my books for a while because I just spent 8 hours at school. It sucks. It sucked for the several years I've been going to school. I know I've got 5 or 6 more years of school and maybe college after that. I don't want to talk about it. It's fine. I'm going to my room. Right? Sadly, for me, fine is not a deflection. I'm either angry, like skull-splittingly furious, or I'm not. I'm fine. Now, it's not exclusively only those two, but generally speaking, yeah, it's I'm either angry or I'm fine. And what that means is I do have difficulty actually experiencing anything else, like joy. I have terrible difficulty actually genuinely enjoying things. A lot of times when I'm reading or watching movies or playing video games, my enjoyment is more intellectual than it is emotional. I'm, engaging with whatever I'm engaging with, and I'm intellectually understanding that it's something I should enjoy, but I'm not emotionally feeling it, if that makes any sense. I'm enjoying it on an intellectual level rather than an emotional level is the best way I can use to describe it. Now, again, that also is not always the case. I do, not as frequently as I would like, but on occasion do genuinely enjoy something. I'm like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. And you've probably seen that if you watch my streams or watch my videos. Sometimes when I lose my shit and just crack up at something and like to tears, you've probably if you've been following me for a while, you've probably seen me do that occasionally. I usually clip that and post it as its own separate video because it's funny. Like what we were playing, Vanishing of Ethan Carter. We got to a point in the video game, and there was the idea that some dipstick at a fish cannery like fell into a meat grinder and ended up in the fish food or the canned tuna or something like that. And I pretty much, the game stopped for 8 minutes while I sat there laughing so hard I was crying. I think, and I was genuinely enjoying that, and that was really funny. I think it comes out so strongly at times like that because I don't often have that joyful release in moderation. Like anger, like everything else, it gets bottled up and saved up, and then it gets all let out at once. Not the best way to do things, but it's unfortunately kind of how I work. Let's see. Chicago says, yep, I had this specific spot on a wooden doorway that I would always hit with my elbow, wouldn't break my elbow. Yeah, load-bearing portions of wall or door jambs. For the molding, but yeah. Pandemic best practices were for me when they are so unbearably hard for so many other people. And I do my best to try and remain cognizant of that. Okay, Andrew. For the foreseeable future, I really like this. This chair's doing it for me so far. I really like it. Little noisy, but I need to break it in, I think. So, Andrew, for the foreseeable future, you need to stay home by yourself and stay away from every other person for the foreseeable future. Yes, please. I am completely comfortable and as happy as I can be to the whole social distancing thing does not bother me in the least. In fact, I prefer it. I honestly, as I mentioned, my friend in Arizona is the only person I've seen in the last year and a half other than the folks who are in the grocery store at the same time I am. And that doesn't bother me. I haven't seen my sister. I've spoken to her on the phone plenty of times. Haven't seen any of my family or any of my friends. Again, save for the one in Arizona. And that doesn't bother me. That is kind of sad, maybe? I mean, but for me, I'm like, I talk to my sister on the phone. I got Zoom. I got Teams. We recorded a couple videos together in the last year, over Skype or Zoom or whatever. Good works for me. But then again, I'm kind of the kind of I'm the kind of guy who is just as happy seeing a like the Grand Canyon on a postcard or in person. To me, is the same thing. The difference for me is I don't care to go to the Grand Canyon. I've seen it. Whether I'm seeing it on high definition video on my monitor here or in person doesn't make a difference to me. What does make a difference is what I do there. Like if I get to go hiking in the Grand Canyon or something, oh, absolutely. But actually just seeing physical proximity doesn't mean anything to me. People are important to me. My sister's important to me. I would be very sad if I never got to speak with her, if I couldn't communicate with her. But I can. I can talk to her whenever I want. I can see her whenever I want over Zoom. To me, and I stress, to me, doesn't mean this is the right way. That's just, for me, that's enough. I'm good. But I also know, and I always try to keep in mind that that is very hard for a lot of other people. So I don't wish these restrictions on anybody just because I don't mind them. And I did mention this, but I'll admit it does make me feel a bit guilty having zero problem with the social distancing restrictions when others it have trouble dealing with that. I can't empathize with it, to the extent that I can't feel it, but I can at least intellectually understand it. So I hope an intellectual understanding counts as some form of empathy at least. Zygon says anger management says to remove yourself from the situation. Yeah. Chaos says, of course, video games aren't cheap either. Cheaper in therapy, though. Cheaper in drugs, too. Healthier, too. I made that joke way back at the Game Politics days. I forget, some dipshit was comparing drugs to... video games to cocaine! I have a video that's 20 of the dumbest things anyone's ever said about video games. Like, nearly half of them are Jack Thompson, but someone in there was comparing video games to cocaine or something like that, and I made the point that they're cheaper and healthier too. Video games are cheaper and healthier. Oh God, what was it? Something that's like playing video games is like doing a line of cocaine. Yeah, let me find it and put it in the chat real quick. There it is. Oh God, 2013. Wow, it's an old one. There you go. That's a fun one. Remember Jack Thompson? What an awful human being. Oh, it's 8:45. Been running over. We've been getting deep and personal here. I didn't have anything else on my list. Someone asked me the FBI. I think that was anime. The FBI. What was that about? Right. So for anyone who joined a little bit later in the show, years ago, at least 7 years or more, I got a phone call, which I missed. It was left on my answering machine. I had a physical phone line, so I actually had an answering machine at the time. So I get home, I play back my message, and hi, this is Dave from the FBI, and so I got a message from the FBI to call him back. I did not, because I figured it was a scam. So why the hell would the FBI want to talk to me? I'm boring. So the next day or something, knock, 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 open the door. 2 FBI agents there. So you didn't return my call. I said, you damn right I didn't. I didn't believe you. So what that was about, so they asked me, you live alone? Yes. Thinking to myself, this is a 400 square foot studio apartment, 72 square feet of which is the balcony. So if there were another person here, you'd see them. But, I'm trying not to be a jerk. And then they say, do you have any guns in the house? I said, no. He says, how about shotgun? And I'm still trying to be a jerk, but I'm thinking to myself, shotgun's a gun. But I'm also thinking I could imagine some dipstick going, you have any guns? Nope. Well, what's that over there? It's a shotgun. Oh, I got a shotgun. You said guns. You didn't say shotgun. It's in the name, man. I mean, maybe you could pull that shit with a rifle, but not a shotgun. Do you have any weapons in the house? And I'm thinking 1, 2. And I say, knives. I mean, I've got the FBI at the door. I mean, I got a lot of privilege on my side, but still don't really need to antagonize them. Turns out, the police were contacted because someone saw me acting very suspicious, and they were afraid I might be up to no good. So they called the cops, and somehow the FBI got involved. Kind of weird that it wasn't local law enforcement that came to my doors, actually the FBI. What was I doing? I had parked at a Walmart, and I wanted to, after I had done whatever I did at Walmart, I wanted to go to Fry's Electronics, which was across the street. So I walked. Suspicious. Yep. Apparently I have a very threatening gait. What would someone be walking across an entire street? That boy is up to no good. So that's what that was about. I was walking across the street to go to Fry's Electronics to look at video games. I was wearing a black leather trench coat at the time. This would have been at least 7 years after Columbine. So it's not like that was a fresh thing. As it happened, April something 99 was when the Columbine shooting was. I worked nights, and I had college classes in the afternoon, so I slept late, had breakfast, and went to school. I was early, so I went into it was still pretty cool, so I had my leather trench coat. And I went into the break room. Our college had a little common area with some arcade games, one of which was Lethal Enforcers, which was a light gun arcade game where you have a plastic gun that you point at the screen and shoot the people. And I like dual wielding. So I'm standing there in a school, college, not a high school, but still a school, in my black leather trench coat, double wielding the Lethal Enforcer arcade cabinet, the morning of Columbine. Whoops. I look. I can see how that looked. I had one of the, I forget who it was. One of the faculty, someone came up to me. It's like, hey, hey, how you doing? Fine. You making a statement with that trench coat? It's cold. Go away. um, Later in the day, when I heard the news, I did not have internet yet. So, again, this was 1999. There was no Twitter. there was internet, but I didn't have it yet. And internet wasn't like what it is today, so... 9/11 was 2001. I had worked the night before, so I got up pretty late, like 10 a.m. or something like that. So I'm sitting in the kitchen. I lived with my grandmother at the time, because she lived about a mile from where I went to college. Convenient. So she was out shopping or something, and I got up, and she was already gone to shop. And I was sitting in the kitchen eating breakfast. She comes home and, goes into the family room and starts turn on the news. She's like, "Oh my God, did you hear? They flew a plane into a building." And I said, "What?" She says, "They flew a plane into a building." I said, "Who did?" "I don't know." I said, "Why?" She says, "I don't know." I said, wait, someone flew a plane into a building? Yes. Like on purpose? I just could not wrap my head around what the hell she was saying. Then, of course, the news came on. It's like, oh, shit. So... yeah. Stuff like that. Now that we have the internet, though, I'm rarely that far behind. I wake up in the morning, I read my email, I look at the news aggregator, see if anything interesting is going on. Oh, two celebrities are kissing each other in public. That's newsworthy. Seriously, I don't care, but if you enjoy reading about people you don't know smooching, cool. I don't understand why you care, but I don't have a problem with it. I genuinely don't. I would, if anyone in the chat can articulate why you care about celebrities smooching, I'd be curious to know, because I don't know why that's interesting. Like, I mean, if you know the people, that's one thing, but these are people you don't know. Oh my gosh, this celebrity X was seen holding hands with celebrity Y. Oh, are they dating? I don't care. What else is going on in the world? Oh, the Gulf of Mexico is on fire. Who's kissing who now? It's at least more pleasant. Chicago says, acting suspicious? Did they see you smile? I have no idea who it was who saw me walking across the street to patron Fry's Electronics. No idea. But that's not a common thing. That's literally happened to me once. So for me, that's a funny anecdote. But I know for a lot of other people, that's stuff like that happens with some regularity. And it's not funny. And I can understand that. To me, that's a funny story because it only happened once, but if that's shit I had to put up with frequently, yeah, that would not be cool. I could just go for hours because this chair is super comfy. But I think we'll call it here because I need to dispose of the previous chair, and I need to fix my desk drawer. So thank you for joining me here on the Andrew's therapy session. I hope you found it engaging and interesting, and I'm sure I scared many of you off. It's like, oh man, this dude has issues. Indeed, he do. This dude does have issues. So tomorrow we're starting in on Trails in the Sky, second chapter. So disposing of the chair might look suspicious. Well, I'll do it it's dark now, so I'll just yeah. Make like Kronk and hum my own theme music as I skulk around the shadows. Anyway, tomorrow, Sunday stream, noon Pacific Standard Time, we are starting Trails in the Sky, second chapter, so. Firelight, gained a new follower here due to your honesty, though. Oh, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy my output. So, alright, I'm going to throw away my chair, fix my desk, and eat dinner. And prep for tomorrow's game stream, which I'm really looking forward to, because I really like the first Trails in the Sky game. So, alright, take care, everyone. Have a nice night. Bye-bye.